So, are we really the masters of our own destiny, or are we just playing out a script that was written a long, long time ago? It's one of the oldest and deepest questions humanity has ever asked. Let's really dive into this together and explore a powerful way of looking at it.
And first off, I just want to give a really warm welcome to everyone from the Delta Meditation community who's tuning in for this explainer. It is fantastic to have you with us. So let me ask you, and really think about it. Are you the one in the director's chair of your own life, calling all the shots? Or are you maybe just a spectator, watching a movie of your life unfold? You know, this whole conflict can feel like a total trap, right? Like there's no way out. But the central idea we're going to unpack today is that the one key to escaping this whole paradox, it lies in one powerful place: awareness. All right, let's dive into our first section. And we're starting with a pretty challenging idea: the mind as an unseen prison. We're talking about unconscious determinism. Okay, so let's use a powerful analogy here. Just think about a dream. When you're dreaming, everything, the people, the places, the crazy things that happen, it's all being created by your own mind. But here's the catch. Because you don't know you're dreaming, you're completely enslaved by it. You're basically a prisoner of your own creation. And this is where it gets really interesting, because the source material we're looking at argues that for most of us, our waking life isn't all that different. We're tangled up in this web of hidden conditioning, old fears, even our genetics, what you could call a matrix of the mind. And whatever that programming spits out, well, we just call it fate.
Okay, but this isn't just some abstract philosophical idea. Let's switch gears and look at the hard science of the brain, because modern neuroscience has uncovered some truly mind-bending evidence on this. This is where we get to the famous, or maybe infamous, Libet experiments. I mean, these studies found something absolutely startling. It looks like our brain makes a decision long before we consciously feel like we've made it. So, check this out. Researchers could see brain activity related to a simple choice, like pressing a button, a full 350 to 400 milliseconds before the person was even aware they had decided to do it. Think about that. For nearly half a second, your brain is way ahead of you.
But wait, it gets even crazier. Later studies using much more advanced fMRI tech could actually predict a person's choice with pretty high accuracy up to 7 full seconds before they knew what they were going to do. 7 seconds. That's a lifetime, neurologically speaking.
So what does this all mean? The implication is just profound. If our brain is making moves seconds before we're in the loop, then our conscious mind isn't the director of the play. It's more like a late-arriving spectator who walks in, sees what's happening on stage, and then takes a bow as if they wrote the whole thing. Okay, I know, all of that can sound a little bleak, right? But hang on, because this is the major turning point. Now that we understand the prison, we can finally talk about the path to liberation. It's all about awakening into true will. So, let's circle back to that dream analogy. In a regular, unconscious dream, you're a prisoner, right? You're just along for the ride. But what happens in a lucid dream? The second you become aware that you're dreaming, everything changes. In that one moment of awareness, you're no longer a slave to the dream. You become its creator. And that right there, that's the path forward in our waking lives, too. The source suggests that when we learn to quiet that constant mental chatter, that conditioned mind, something much deeper can finally awaken. This is what's called the point of seeing, and it's the very birthplace of genuine free will. But believe it or not, there's an even higher stage than that, one that completely resolves that old paradox between free will and fate. This is what's known as the higher determinism of love. At this level, that constant struggle of my will against the world, it just dissolves. Instead of trying to force your individual desires onto reality, you learn to align with the universal flow, a current of, well, divine love. And Delta meditation has a powerful name for this concept: intent. And this is just such a beautiful resolution to the whole problem. You see, you're not fighting against determinism anymore. You're consciously choosing to flow with a higher, more intelligent kind of determinism, the determinism of love. And that is where true, ultimate freedom is found. And what's so cool is that this isn't just some isolated idea. Just look at how all these different perspectives totally converge on the same point. You've got Jung psychology, ancient Toltec wisdom, even the neuroscientists who discovered the illusion of free will. They all point to awareness as the key. And Delta meditation frames this beautifully as the moment you awaken to consciously shape your own destiny. Okay, so this brings us right to the bridge to freedom, and ultimately to a final, really fundamental choice that every single one of us has to make. When you boil it all down, it really comes down to a choice between two very different paths. On one side, you have the path of unconsciousness, being enslaved by your brain's programming and just calling it fate. And on the other side, you have the path of consciousness, learning to flow with love and intent, actively shaping your destiny within a higher conscious determinism. And so, according to the source material we've been exploring, the practice of Delta meditation is presented as the very bridge that can actually take you from that first path to the second one, from the prison of the mind to the real experience of true freedom. You know, the great poet Rumi understood this centuries ago. He said, "This world is a prison, and we are the prisoners." He saw that without that spark of awareness, our entire experience of life is, in a way, a kind of prison. But that prison has a key. Awakening is basically becoming lucid in the dream of life itself. It's that magic moment when you stop being just a character in the story and realize you have access to the pen. That is the source of intent. So this entire deep dive was based on the manifesto from Delta Meditation. If any of this sparked your curiosity and you really want to explore these ideas on a deeper level, you can find them on YouTube. We've got their Persian and their English channels right here on the screen. Thanks so much for joining me.